All right, today is Sunday, December 13th, 2020. I'm doing a little weird experiment. As most of you know, the house has had its aero barrier done, and then it's got, at least on the interior, 2 inches of 2-pound foam. When we did the aero barrier, when we did not have the foam, we had an air change per hour of about 0.3, which is pretty darn tight. But obviously we didn't have any of the insulation. So now the house is insulated. It's had the aero barrier, so it's pretty tight. Anybody would tell you that 0.3 ACH with foam added is a well-insulated, very tight house. We've obviously got triple pane WASCO windows. That's W-A-S-C-O, WASCO Windows, out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. To give them a plug, the windows are designed much like German windows because the fellow Dave, who is part owner of WASCO, is the engineer, and he spent a decade in Germany building German-style windows, and they have a well-deserved reputation for being incredibly tight, well-engineered. They're far superior to any windows from, let's say Anderson, Marvin, etc., because they're built to European standards. And price-wise, they're competitive. They're the same or less than a WASCO window, which sort of makes sense. Glass is glass. Most of it comes from, I think, is it Corning? The point is that these are really good windows. We've had the air barrier done so that it's been sealed. We've had the 2 inches of spray foam done on the interior, and then understand there's 2.5 inches of exterior installation called Zip R. So it is already a pretty tight living space, incredibly tight. I know that when I go to my apartment where I'm staying and you put your hand by a window, the air just blows right in. I mean, literally, it just blows right in. You can just tell that the windows are not very good. They're double hung. Double hung is, that's crap. It just is. Maybe a cool style, but it's crap. So what I've done is I've taken a 1500 watt space heater, and it's around noon on Sunday, and I'm gonna let it run for the next 24 hours. I have a 2 kilowatt generator out on the porch. It's been safely positioned away from any living items, so the exhaust is being blown outside. The oil's been changed, the fuel is good, and I'm gonna run a little stupid experiment and see how long does it take, if it can, for this 1500 watt space heater, which is normally used for rooms that are 400 square feet, to plus up the heat. You know, when you got a little cold area, you put it in the space heater, you run it while you're there, and you can see it sitting there, it's running. And lo and behold, you can see maybe sort of the differential as the heat comes out of here. You can see sort of like when you're in the desert where you see the shimmering. I can see it. I don't know if it shows it on the video. The sun is out today. It is approximately 28 degrees Fahrenheit right now outside. And since this is an unheated space, it's 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's not bad in here. There's no wind, obviously, because it's very tightly sealed. We've got the sun coming in, and as you can see, as the sun lowers in the south, the light's coming farther and farther deeper into the room. The 21st is going to be our cutoff date. Hopefully I'll get a video then. So I'm going to let this sit for the day, heating the space. Not that the space needs to be heated, but just to sort of grins to see how warm can I get this space with a 1500 watt space heater. That's the sole source of heat other than the sun for this space. Be kind of fun, see what happens. I gotta say, Kevin from Alpine Insulation did an excellent job Even though we had the aero barrier, he was still doing his technique, which is sealing all these openings and cracks, getting in the spaces here. He's a very good guy, kind of quiet, kind of shy, but does excellent work. Very much a dedicated professional. Enjoy talking to him. And as usual, this is my walk around video. I like to do this because it helps document what's going on. So should there be a question in the months and years to come, I'll know what the answers are. I'll have actual video proof of what was going on. So just thought I'd let you know that. This 6-minute video, having a little fun. Oh, the garage water was installed. There it is, hot and cold. I can run all cold, all hot, or mix the two. We've got the drain over there. So I can bring the hose reel, mount the hose reel there, drag out the hose, wash the cars. It goes down the drain. It's gonna be nice. I'll basically have a little car wash going here. And as you all know, this space is heated and cooled and insulated to the same standard as the house. There's 4 inches of spray foam up there. And then we'll put in batt insulation to plus it up. So it'll probably be like an R60, something like that, which is a lot of insulation for a roof. And for a garage, it's unheard of to have that much insulation. And just taking a little walk around. I haven't been here for a day. Oh, this is the fabric used on the walls to allow them to blow in the insulation on the vertical walls. Yeah, I've seen this before inside the house. It lets air through, because you don't want poly film plastic on the interior walls. Everybody does it since the 40s. It's just a stupid idea if you have air conditioning, because it causes all the moisture in the wall to precipitate in the summer on the plastic. And there's no place for the moisture to escape. It either has to come in this way, which is the way it's designed in my house, or it has to go to the exterior. But it's a terrible idea, especially in cold climates, because all the moisture collects here. You've got, in the summer, you've got cold air here if it's air conditioned. The moisture from the humidity precipitates, comes out of air and sits here. And then moisture and insulation and wood, terrible combination. So it just sits there and rots. In the winter, you've got all this heat and potentially moisture in the house, although not so much in the Midwest, and it will then precipitate. If it's a cold wall, it will then precipitate on the exterior of the poly, because this wall is cold. Most walls aren't insulated to this degree, so the cold air comes through the insulation, generally batt insulation, hits this impermeable poly, and the cold, moist, or the warm, moist air comes in, precipitates there, and then you get water on this side. So do not use poly film if you can avoid it. It's a terrible idea. Ask anybody who does inspections on homes that have problems with water, and they'll tell you it's a terrible idea. So I'm happy. Hopefully on Monday, tomorrow, We Energies will come out and finish the connection to the house with the power, and that will allow the HVAC people to show up and do their thing, which means we can have heat in here. I won't have to use a generator, and I won't have to use a little 1500 watt heater. But as always, it's kind of fun to do something that's different. Gas, generator. I'll be checking in about 4 hours, checking the oil, putting some more fuel in it. Yeah, life is good. Got to go out for a friend's birthday party yesterday. I consider him the brother I've never had. He's a very pleasant fellow. And by the way, his name is Bob. So it makes it easy. His name is Bob, my name is Bob. Raphael finished the gutters. One of the advantages of having a close personal relationship with your subcontractors is I asked him to have all the water slope down here and drop out just the rear. Normally they would have gutters here with downspouts, but I don't want all the water coming out here. So he's got this very gentle slope on the gutters. You can see the downspouts back there. And the nice thing about that is when and if I collect water, when it rains, I will have just one area where I'm collecting it, actually one on each side. And that will allow me to store water for droughts, etc. Sort of like a Texas thing. In Texas and in some of the dry areas of the country, they do a lot of water storage. Not so much in the Midwest because we got tons of water, but it allows me to have a backup water supply. Because as mentioned before, this roof is huge. It's estimated there's 3,000 gallons of water coming off this roof for every inch of rain. That's a no-brainer. That can happen in a day in the Midwest. And then I can store a couple of thousand gallons of water there, have an electric pump, keep things wet and watered without using my well. It'll be a fun experiment, sort of a reflection of my hippie days. I'm still technically a hippie, although I don't look like a hippie. My hippie is part of me, is part of my brain. Yeah, so life is good. House is making progress. Hopefully we'll have good news on Monday. I will talk to you later. Have a good time. Love you all. Bye.